Okay, that's what I'm going to say. If I go signature first.
Yeah.
We still have to build this building and keep this one operating.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Monday, October 8th meeting of the Green Bay Plan Commission. First item on the agenda is roll call. Sid Bremmer, Vice Chair.
Present.
Alder Veronica Corpus Dax.
Present.
Lisa Hanson is absent. Excused. Jake Miller. Present. Randy Petrovsky.
Present.
And Jerry Wisbitski.
Present.
Next item, approval of the agenda for the October 8th, 2018 meeting of the Green Bay Plan Commission.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next item, approval of the minutes from the September 24th, 2018 meeting of the Green Bay Plan Commission.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item, regular business, item 1. Consideration of possible action on the request to authorize a conditional use permit to permit the redevelopment of a motor freight operation in a business park district at 1634-1710 Cochrane Drive, submitted by Fisher and Associates LLC on behalf of Contract Transport Services property owner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for a conditional use permit for a motor freight operation for actually an existing use at 1634 Cochrane Drive. That property is located right here to the west of 1710 and an adjoining lot that CTS also owns. Again, they have an existing transport business, and they're proposing to redevelop that site and expand. Cochrane Drive here, Elizabeth Street. This is business park zoning, mainly business park uses. Single families down here, and a trailer or motorhome park to the west of Elizabeth Street. Zoning-wise, this is a business park zoning here, this gray shaded area. General industrial, light industrial, and then again some low-density residential down to the south along Eastman. Comp plan also shows some light industrial for this particular area and lower density residential along Eastman Avenue. So this current use and proposed use is somewhat consistent with the comprehensive plan. So as I mentioned before, there are two lots. The first lot at 1634 is 4.5 acres in size. This is the existing operation for CTS. They have the adjoining lot about a little over 4 acres in size to the east at 1710. So what they're basically going to do is flip the site. They're going to move their building from this side or reconstruct and put that building on the east side here. Parking in front, trailer storage to the west along that area. This is about a 30,000 square foot building or so, roughly. There are residents, again, to the south here, that front Eastman Avenue. There will be some sort of transitional yard that will be required here as well. So this is the concept plan for that particular site, and this is an elevation. So they're proposing, again, a 30,000 square foot building, a 3-story structure that meets our current standards for facades. We have notified affected property owners within 400 feet, I believe. And we have 3 conditions of approval tonight. First one is compliance with all regulation of the municipal code. Second is to consolidate those 2 parcels into one tax parcel. And thirdly, the vegetation within the southern buffer be primarily evergreens, again, to kind of create that transitional yard.
Thank you. Any discussion?
One question.
Yes.
On the site plan, what is the little building over to the left? I mean, the relatively little building.
I believe that's a fuel building.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't read the print on it.
Sure, small.
Any further discussion? Is there anybody wishing to speak on this matter? Second?
Go ahead.
Move to open the floor.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Petrovsky, a second by Commissioner Miller to open the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Would you come up to the podium, please? State your name and address for the record.
My name is Bertie Skolecki, and I live at 1121 Grignon, but I own a 7-plex property on this side over there,
Okay.
1631 Eastman. It doesn't tell me what the use of this building is going to be. That's my concern.
Okay. Is the applicant here?
Yes. The architect and the applicant are here.
Okay, so they can address that issue when they speak. Thank you.
I can do that. Good evening, I'm Rick Fisher with Fisher & Associates Architects, 916 Cedar Street, Deep Pier, Wisconsin. The current use is going to be expanded. They'd like to reconstruct their facility from their older buildings, I think 1996 was the first construction, and modernize the shop facility. Their fleet is being upgraded from the original diesel trucks, and I thought there was 60 or so.
Originally 141 diesel trucks, yeah.
These trucks, that they're being converted to compressed natural gas vehicles. And the current shops, because natural gas goes up and other fuels go down, it's time to modernize the shop to make it code compliant with the requirements for the compressed natural gas maintenance. So originally looked at a small addition to the existing facility. We realized it just made more sense to reconstruct it and make an investment in the property. Some of the improvements I think we've made are just trying to make the circulation better, minimize the number of trucks that are operating on the south end of the property. This is probably a contract transport, so they don't haul freight in the air typically. So the trailers are there for maintenance primarily. So what we did is we faced all the trailers north to keep all the trucks far north, as opposed to, right now they park nose to nose. So the trucks are directly exposed to the neighborhood. So we're trying to minimize that by pointing all the trailers north. It'll make maneuvering a lot easier, times to pick trailers a lot faster. We have a lot more clearance in the yard than what we had before. We've also increased the green space on the overall site from, I think, around 10% to 30%, which is the current ordinance requirement. What else? Is there any other questions?
Any questions? Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak on this matter? Hearing none?
Motion to close the floor and return to regular order of business.
Good.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kremer and a second by Commissioner Wisniewski to close the floor and return to regular order of business. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Is there any further discussion among commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Miller.
My employer does do business with CTS, so I will be abstaining from voting today. That being said, they're a very positive partner, and if I could vote, I would vote in favor.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Wisniewski.
I would just like to say my compliments for the motion that they're making and updating their equipment and their gear to make it more green probably and more user friendly. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Bivens.
I'll be voting in favor because this clearly fits well with area development. It is an extension of the current business, so there'll be no significant change except in the amount of land, and your particular corner is pretty green. So extending the green I also appreciate very much, and I appreciate that the staff identified that, and some evergreens in there as a good way to address the only concern with any potential increase in noise.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, I shall entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Waspisky, a second by Alder Corpus Dax to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I would ask that you vote.
Motion approved.
Okay, it approved with 5 votes to approve
5 to
and
1, yeah.
1 abstention. Thank you. Next item, item 2, consideration with possible action on a request to authorize a conditional use permit for the height of a detached accessory garage in the low-density residential district at 2574 West Point Road, submitted by James R. Walker, property owner.
Hey, Mr. Chair, this is a request for a conditional use permit for an accessory structure that exceeds the minimum height requirements in the R1 district. 2574 West Point is located on the far west side of town. Highlighted in red here, it's about 18,000 square feet in size. This is West Point Road in Packerland. Southwest High School is just to the north here. Mainly an area of single-family homes along the south and just past Packerland Drive. From a comprehensive plan perspective, this is low-density residential area, of course. The zoning certainly matches that particular recommendation, as it's being R1. The request is to build a detached accessory garage approximately 80 feet off of the West Point Road right-of-way. It's about 25 by 40. It's a rather large garage, about 1,000 square feet in size. It is set back appropriately from West Point and from the interior lot line. However, the height of the structure exceeds our minimum requirements. Sidewall heights are exceeding the 10-foot requirement. They're at about 14 or so. The overall height is about 17 feet. Typically, our max is 16 feet in that district. We notified affected property owners. We didn't receive any calls or questions regarding this. This is, again, it's kind of a rather large lot. There are no neighbors to the north. It's set back from the street, really doesn't pose a conflict for the neighborhood. As a result, staff is recommending approval. 2 conditions, kind of our standard condition about meeting all the other basic requirements of the site plan review. And the second one is the continuance of a similar style of architecture, materials, and color that blend with the existing structure.
Thank you. Any discussion? Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Thank you. There's no further discussion. The chair would entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Waspisky, a second by Alder Corpus Dax to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I would ask that you cast your vote.
Motion approved unanimously.
Thank you. Motion is unanimously approved. Next item, item 3, consideration with possible action on a request to authorize a conditional use permit to extend the emergency shelter use at 411 St. John Street, submitted by Alexia Wood, St. John the Evangelist Homeless Shelter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request to extend the previously approved conditional use permit for the St. John Homeless Shelter at 411 St. John Street, I think. The Commission is somewhat familiar with this. You've seen this many times in the past. This is the site of St. John's right here. It's in the school building here. Jefferson, St. John Street, just off of Mason Street. Comp plan recommends downtown land uses in this particular area. Current shelter facility is consistent with downtown uses. The current zone is office residential. Because it's office residential, shelter uses are required to obtain a conditional use permit. And they have done that through many years, actually. This is the 3rd time I think they've had a three-year renewal. The last one was done in 2015. Recently, the shelter came back before the Plan Commission for a summer program, as you may recall. Received approval to operate that. The current request is basically to run a year-round facility, so they would have their traditional emergency shelter from November 1 to April 30th. They would then have a reduced program, pared back program from April 30th to November 1. In essence, going kind of a year-round program. There is an updated operating plan that is attached within your agenda. One thing we wanted to point out to the commission member is that there is the call for service, the CFS calls. I put that into the agenda. That is higher than most shelter facilities. We'd like to see the shelter continue to work with police, fire, and rescue on those calls to mitigate those the best they can. We did notify affected property owners, as we typically do in this case, within 200 feet. We didn't receive any calls or questions. Alderman Scannell has a previous commitment with another committee and couldn't make it tonight, but he is in full support of this request. As we have in the past, staff is supporting this request. There are a series of conditions. They are almost identical to the ones you've seen in the past years. The only change here is in item A. We've just specified the expansion of that program to be pretty much year-round, and there's a kind of a deadline of November 1st, 2021. We'll have to revisit this item again. So we are recommending approval of the request subject to the conditions attached within your agenda tonight. The applicant is here tonight as well if you have questions.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I would just like to add one thing if we could, under staff, under the letter E. In referencing the neighborhood associations to work with, I'd like us to add the Downtown Neighborhood Association. This is actually located within the Downtown Neighborhood Association, so we should add that association, I guess, just as sort of technical.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay.
I move to open the floor.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bremer, a second by Commissioner Wojciechowski to open the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, wonderful. Again, my name's Alexia Wood, Executive Director with St. John's Homeless Shelter, 411 St. John Street. So I had written up some remarks tonight, and with your permission, I'd just like to pass those along and save you some time from listening to all of my remarks. But I did want to comment on just a few things as we are before you yet again for another conditional use permit. And before I land on this, I just want to say that we have attempted to work with the Downtown Neighborhood Association in the past, that it wasn't an organized committee at that point in time. Certainly supported being part of the neighborhood association, in which we actually reside in addition to those that connect with us. And so, first off, I would just like to thank you guys. I am so encouraged just by the communication and support we've received specifically from this Plan Commission and then working with Paul Newmeyer over the past couple of years. And to reiterate, we are here for that renewal of our conditional use permit, and the application that's in front of you is a combination of the two permits this group has previously approved without any capacity or operational changes. And so again, in the remarks that I'll leave with you, our evening shelter in the winter from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. and then again offering what we've referred to as churches offering temporary shelter, but really safe sleeping in the summer months between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. So I just wanted to highlight quickly, because I know one of the concerns in the community is that as a shelter of last resort, we take individuals who have absolutely no other housing options, and then there are a lot of questions of what do we do to serve that individual and actually move them back towards self-sufficiency. And so, again, while our specific programs are referenced there, our case management, Joseph Project, on-site medical care, mental health therapy, I just want to talk to some of the bigger level pictures of things that we are addressing as an organization and as a ministry. So as I shared in July, the staff of St. John the Evangelist Homeless Shelter are working hard to address the systemic issues of homelessness and poverty while continuing to meet the acute needs of those struggling today. In addition to being elected as a governing board member for the Brown County Homeless and Housing Coalition, a coalition comprised of 35 agencies addressing the needs of homelessness in our community, I was also elected to the board of directors for the Wisconsin Balance of State Continuum of Care, where I also co-chair the Emergency Shelter Standards Committee. These positions ensure that St. John's is active in all strategies, both locally and statewide, to prevent and end homelessness. Within our 5-member leadership team, we have 4 postgraduate degrees and a combined 109 years of professional experience. And that same education and professionalism extends down into our other key staff positions. Additionally, and we referenced it briefly in July, I am currently enrolled in the doctoral social work program through the University of Southern California, where my capstone project is focused on ending homelessness here in the Green Bay area. And so through that capstone, I'm collaborating with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, also referred to as SAMHSA, the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness. So in fact, the link to the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness report that was included in the analysis portion of this agenda item has been driving much of my research and innovation over the past few months since its release in July. So I'll graduate with that doctorate degree in December of 2019. I remain an active participant in the Basic Needs Coalition, where the police department, area hospitals, treatment programs, Brown County Health and Human Services, and housing providers are all working together to strengthen the access and availability of mental health treatment and detox services for the chronically homeless population. And as a foster mom, I've had 11 children, ranging from 2 to 17 years old, placed into my home in the past 4 years. I can tell you with resolve that we as a community must do better. We are raising our children in complex, broken systems and then point the finger at them when they grow into hurting, wounded, broken adults. The adults we serve at St. John's Homeless Shelter and the children I serve in my home are the same. They are hurting, they are wounded, and they need strong, loving advocates working hard to ensure that their past trauma doesn't define their future. They don't need individuals creating additional barriers as they attempt to play the awful hand they've been dealt. The guests of St. John's are often those same hurting children as the ones in my home who simply grew up and aged out before supportive services could reach them. At St. John's, we're not looking to condone or coddle negative behaviors. We are working to walk alongside individuals in their journey until they can recognize the potential and resilience within themselves. In addition to my advocacy roles, other leadership staff continue serving on Brown County Homeless and Housing Coalition subcommittees, the Joshua Mental Health Task Force, neighborhood associations, and the Reentry Coalition through the Brown County Jail Ministry. We as a community should be sickened knowing we have community residents, neighbors, who have sought refuge in abandoned semis, garages, and dumpsters, and have ultimately found their death there on the streets. We need to be demanding answers, and we should be rallying around the 35 agencies that comprise the Brown County Homeless and Housing Coalition, who are all partnering and collaborating on this tough, complex problem. This is a community problem that requires a community solution. So while I can acknowledge various regional law enforcement agencies have all brought referrals to us, indicating individuals have sought shelter at St. John's who perhaps started their journey in a surrounding community, I need to also reiterate clearly, we as St. John's are not marketing our services beyond Green Bay, and we as a community have been doing the exact same thing, sending individuals to communities where resources exist. When families who have been sleeping in their vehicles for months at a time, with infants lacking necessary medical attention and school-aged children not attending school, approach our agencies for help, our local partners, St. John's included, have been desperate to care for these young families. Our community lacks the resources that other communities have been able to offer, so we have provided transportation for Green Bay residents to get help elsewhere, and that's happening even here this week. The stark difference is community groups from De Pere, Pulaski, Howard, Pilsen, Stangleville, O'Connell, Seymour, Hobart, Gillett, Dykesville, Oneida, and Door County all come to serve the homeless at St. John's Homeless Shelter in Green Bay, and we are grateful. We need that type of regionalism from community groups, city government, and county government to truly create a better region and a better solution for all of us. And there are political issues between governments that do need to be addressed. But an individual or family should not become a pawn in that bigger broken system. In addition to HUD requirements preventing the discrimination of services based on someone's city of origin, the Housing First model outlined in the Interagency Council's report refutes this approach as well. And so I would simply ask that you consider that when incorporating additional restrictions to our conditional use permit as recommended in point G. We continue to fight for a future that does not require extensive homeless services in our area. However, we cannot ignore the need that currently exists for those who do not have access to safe housing each night. We will remain active participants in the conversations and strategies to end homelessness while remaining open collaborators with city officials, partners, and leaders. So we truly appreciate your support of our work over the years, and we continue to run all of our services and programs without city or county funding, working to ensure that we are a piece of the solution in the greater continuum of care, and we are but a small piece. We are grateful for the opportunity to care for our homeless neighbors, because everyone deserves a safe place to sleep and a sense that they belong. So thank you for your work to ensure that Green Bay truly is a great community for all of its residents to live, work, and play. So I'll leave, again, the rest of my reflections for you guys. I'm available for questions, but just wanted to speak to the bigger level of what we are doing to address some of those systemic issues of homelessness and poverty.
Thank you. Is there any questions, discussion? Commissioner Wojciechowski.
Amen. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak on this item? Thank you. Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to close the floor.
So
moved.
We have a motion by,
And a second.
we have a motion by Commissioner Bremer, a second by Commissioner Wojciechowski to close the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, yes, Commissioner Wojciechowski.
Motion approved.
And I would second that with the following additional comments. I'm very pleased that the staff report recognizes the consistent record of compliance with conditions and with programming and administrative performance. And you answered my question very neatly, which I didn't even have a chance to ask about whether there are any changes to the operational plan. It's clearly been very successful. I think our community is incredibly well served by the gospel mandate that St. John's Evangelical accepts. I do not think that they hold a primary responsibility for dealing with the issue of homelessness in our community. They are doing it in place of our government, which should be carrying that forward. So that is my one reservation. I'm very grateful to them for doing that for us. It is a civic responsibility that they have embraced to work with agencies, both public and nonprofit, on this issue. And I think there are very good safeguards already set up to deal with the difficult target clientele that they are serving, which, to my way of thinking, completely adequately addresses why there are more calls for service at that location rather than at other shelters. So I have no concern about that at all, except the larger picture. Folks like that should have adequate places to sleep. And my thanks to St. John's.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Wojciechowski and a second by Commissioner Bremer to approve the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I would ask that you cast your vote.
Approved unanimously.
Thank you. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this will come before the city council, all three of these on when?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, the October 16th. Thank you. Next item, the director's report.
Well, what I can tell you that at the last council meeting, the report of the plan commission was approved. That included the zone change for the property located at 2405 West Mason and the conditional use permit for the expanded shelter facility at 1120 University Avenue. And then also some city surplus property, 1826 North Irwin Avenue. And then we had 3 resolutions approved. That conditional use at 1120, the resolution declaring city property surplus at 826 North Irwin, and then the resolution regarding vacation of a portion of Donald Driver Way, which is south of in the rail yard area. And then we just had first readings, 2 first readings for zoning ordinance 1618, rezoning property at 2045 West Mason, and then 4-18, amending the official map by closing unimproved portion of Kellogg Street. And everything was approved and went through, so good.
Thank you.
Pretty much it.
The date of the next meeting is Monday, October 22nd, 2018. And with that,
I move to adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion by Commissioner Bremer to adjourn, a second by Alder Corpus Stamps. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.